So, this is your King of Kings on Monday, April 15th, 2013. And, so I'm going to comment. I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes today. You never know. So I'm going to comment on what occurs in democracies in the West. Duly elected politicians, the whole 9 yards, jumping up and down to beat the band, claiming freedom and liberty reign here. That Canada has a good set of laws that people can count on. And they do. They're well-written laws. They really are. I've read them. Really, I could fall in love with them myself. The problem with law in Canada, in Ontario, Canada, for certain I can speak with some degree of expertise in this domain. The difference between what's written and what's practiced is glaring to anyone who has the wit and the energy just to notice for a day. Anyway, it's possible to be sentenced to time in jail in Canada when no crime is committed. To be held in jail for so long that you admit to anything, to be released. This is how Canadian jurisprudence practices its craft. It grabs unsuspecting individuals, usually men, who they deem to be disadvantaged. And just get creative, not only with the letter of the law, but also with the administration of it. So, it is possible for the court's own experts to recognize there has been no crime committed here, a verbatim quote from their head honcho professional. But he also tempered that assertion with, but you'll probably do time because of the reasonable man clause. See, they drag this reasonable man out of the closet and elevate him to the front of the judge's head, to it he places an envelope, and the reasonable man pontificates juristic wisdom. And so the juristic wisdom pontificated by this alleged reasonable man who never shows up in court, never testifies, never does nothing, except that the judge, the crown, agree that the reasonable man would come to this deductive reasoning. You are in fact guilty. Ergo, you're guilty. In spite of evidence, huge evidence that contradicts these guilty assertions. In spite of the fact their own witnesses said, he never hurt me. I thought he was my best friend. What are you talking about? In spite of this, zero complaint. It's possible to be sentenced to a year in prison. And 2 years in prison for equally flatulent wit. Not even argued. No truth sought whatsoever. Just conviction. So people who think that democracy is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I think need to have their heads examined. When you prosecute anything contrary to the laws of God, you're going to get sick. You're going to produce illness for yourselves. And jurisprudence in North America is an illness. It's the whore of Babylon. Been predicted for countless centuries. Slut incarnate. Whores with everything she fucking touches. And has her experts, her little potentate, highly paid riffraff, stumble about the planet and pontificate on the sanity of conformity, to this hilarity of wit and desperate perversion of their own sexual beings, their own emotional life, and their own creative possibilities, are basically turning pillars of salt. I've got jurists that can't add and don't 19 plus 19 and get a right answer. $400 an hour each for this largesse. Or who read it 3.7 words a minute to be precise, and invoice $400 an hour to do this as well. Now, I'm not going to belabor you with a graphic example of what 3.7 words a minute sounds like. But I suggest you try this fucking seriously yourself. Sit there and read anything at 4 words a minute. See if you can remember what you're reading. But this is ratified, stamped, endorsed by Superior Court jurists up the fucking yin-yang. Continuously. I thought it was just in my issues, like 7-year marriage, 13-year relationship, having the data in my hot little pocket, and I can prove I paid for a matrimonial home twice over. 0 was considered fair and equitable settlement for me because I didn't pay for a lawyer. I just want to present the data to the judge and have him make a decision. But you can't do that here. You see, law in Canada, Ontario, Canada, is for sale, and you have to pay the princes of the craft to get any type of wit whatsoever. If you don't, you're fucked. Now, this is not how the preamble to the laws reads. It doesn't read, so it must be understood that in Canada, people without funds or people who do not choose to retain legal counsel have no business in these courts and will not be granted standing. This is the truth. It's unspoken truth. So, a free country is a country where I can exercise my prerogative to govern myself without undue hindrance by anyone for any reason whatsoever. And this would include the police, perverted jurists, and insane, debilitating psychiatric individuals who sell themselves as experts in a craft they can't even fucking define. No, not one. Ask any fucking psychiatrist what mental health is. Go ahead, I dare you. Not a fucking clue. Ask any jurist what the truth is. You'll get the same fucking response. Not a clue. They're guessing. And when they guess bad and they guess wrong, they insist on never returning to the scene of the crime. It's done, it's a decision made, it's history. We have spoken, ergo it is. Doesn't matter that I can't add, I can't read, and I perjure myself continuously without any cost whatsoever, and allow my subalterns and bottom-feeding priests to do the same as well. Goddamn cops come into court, lie, it's understood that they do. Totally, by every fucking buddy playing the game. Half what the police said is horseshit. And the other half is, handily crafted theories. And they keep my people in jail based on this fucking puss of reasoning. Because they're too lazy to fucking work for a living and do a job. They like to get paid, but they don't like to fucking put out. That's a fucking shitty whore. That is, think about it. Anyway, so I'm not really happy with a lot of things this morning. Jurisprudence being one of them, I guess fairly safe to include. And I have very, very, very fucking good reason. So much so that the Canadian jurists the superior courtiers, the fucking primo honchos of this land, are hiding from me, running and hiding behind each other's apron fucking strings. Goddamn mannerless, vacuous, pointless effluent is all that gets dispensed from jurisprudence in Ontario, Canada, routinely, every fucking day. A miasma of homogenized horseshit. And we must be obeyed, don't you know? We are the law. Think on this, and think on how much further you want to ride with this. Give it a thought.